Two cameras, 2 years apart, and the headline number is exactly the same, 8K. The Insta360 X4 shot 8K 360 video back in 2024, and the brand new X6 shoots 8K 360 video today. Same number, heavier price tag, and a marketing department quietly hoping you never run the math. The X4 sells new right now for around $360, while the X6 starts at $699.99, so you are being asked to pay nearly double for a figure that did not move at all. Here is the part nobody covers though. One spec on this camera genuinely doubled, and it is nowhere near the front of the box. By the end of this, you will know whether your X4 is finished, or whether Insta360 is finishing you. 8K sounds enormous, right up until you understand where all those pixels actually go. A 360 camera never aims at your subject, it wraps around the entire sphere, so that 8K figure describes a full ball of image rather than the clip you eventually post. When you reframe afterwards and pull a normal flat shot out of that sphere, you are cropping down to roughly a quarter of the width, and the resolution collapses right along with it. On the X4, reframed output lands around 2.7K, which sits closer to sharp 1080p than anything you would call cinematic. The X6 captures that same 8K sphere, so the crop math has not improved at all. What did improve is frame rate, because the X6 records 8K at 50 FPS and 6K at 60, while the X4 stops dead at 8K 30. Worth saying plainly before we go any further, no brand ships this channel free hardware, there is no embargo access here, and no relationship to protect, which is exactly why I have no reason to sell you a resolution number that barely moved. The spec that doubled is the one Insta360 buries 3 scrolls down the page, and it changes everything about who should upgrade. The X4 runs 1/2-inch sensors, while the X6 runs custom Sony 1.1-inch square sensors, which Insta360 describes as full 1-inch equivalent 360 imaging. If you skip the X5, you are not stepping up 1 generation of light gathering, you are stepping up 2. And the gap between a 1/2-inch sensor and a 1-inch equivalent is the difference between grain you fight in editing and footage you barely touch. That extra sensor area quietly pays for the rest of the list, because the X6 records 10-bit color in every mode, where the X4 gives you 8, adds native Dolby Vision, adds an ILog profile for people who grade properly, and pushes waterproofing to 20 meters without a case, where the X4 taps out at 10. Battery moves from 2290 mAh to 2600 mAh, rated at up to 140 minutes of 8K 30. The honest catch is that almost none of this shows up in daylight. Shoot a bright afternoon and your X4 footage holds up embarrassingly well, but shoot at dusk, indoors, or anywhere you plan to color grade, and the sensor gap becomes the entire video. Now for the number that never appears in a launch video, which is what this upgrade actually costs once the box is open. The X6 uses a new Xtreme Battery at $44.99, and your X4 cells do not fit, so every spare you own turns into a paperweight with a charging case attached. Premium lens guards for the X6 run $42.99, and the X4 guards do not transfer either, because the lens geometry changed again. If you dive, brace yourself, because the X6 Invisible Dive Case Pro lists at $179.99, and your X4 housing is now scrap. The magnetic mounting system carries over from the X5, the X4 Air, and the Ace series, which is a very polite way of saying the original X4 got left off the list. Add 1 spare battery and 1 set of guards to the standard bundle, and you are already at $787.97. Before a selfie stick, before a micro SD card, and before an ND filter set at another $44.99. Add the dive case on top, and you have crossed $960 for a camera advertised at $699.99. Insta360 does not really build ecosystems, it rents them to you, 1 generation at a time. The headline feature everyone repeated without checking is the built-in storage, and this is where the shine comes off fast. The X6 gives you roughly 47 gigabytes of usable internal space, which sounds like a genuine convenience win over the X4, where a memory card was always mandatory. Then you pointed at the maximum bitrate. At 240 megabytes, that internal storage fills up in around 26 minutes, so treat it as a backup card you forgot to pack, rather than a reason to leave your micro SD at home. The software story gets messier from there. Insta360 Studio is still the best 360 editor in the category, and it is the real reason most people stay locked in this ecosystem. But owners keep reporting that moving source files on a hard drive wipes existing project links with no recovery path, and losing a finished edit hurts far more than losing a frame of dynamic range. The X6 also leans hard on AI Director and Auto Edit 2.0, which both push through the app and the Insta360 cloud. Buy and activate before September 30th, and you get a free year of premium cloud storage at 500 gigabytes, which feels generous right up until you notice that a free year is a subscription with a countdown timer attached. Here is the section every launch video skips, which is the honest list of what nobody has confirmed yet. A number of early owners are reporting visible stabilization jitter on the X6 during riding footage, worse than their X5 in the same conditions, with several of them pointing at the 50 FPS modes as the likely suspect. That is user reporting rather than a confirmed defect, and firmware may well fix it, but there are now enough independent reports that pretending it does not exist would be dishonest. Nobody has published reliable thermal limits either, so overheating behavior during long 8K 50 takes remains an open question. Real battery life at maximum bitrate is untested, because a 140-minute rating measured at 8K 30 tells you very little about 8K 50 on a warm day. Dive performance stays unknown until people actually take the new housing down. And if you deliver to headsets, keep in mind that 50 FPS does not cleanly match most headset refresh rates, so playback can stutter on hardware a Quest owner already paid for. Anyone handing you a confident verdict on those 5 points this week is guessing at you. So run the money properly, because $340 is not an abstract gap, it is an entire second camera. That is a GoPro Max 2 at $499.99 with change left over, or a DJI Osmo 360, or 3 spare batteries and a dive case for the X4 already sitting in your bag. Your X4 launched at $499.99 back in April 2024 and sells new today around $360, which tells you two things at once: that Insta360 hardware loses value fast, and that the X4 is now the strongest value pick in the entire lineup. If you skip the X5, that camera has drifted into the 400s and delivers most of the low light gain for far less pain. For a first 360 camera on a budget, the X4 at $360 is a stupidly good entry point, and nothing about the X6 makes your footage more watchable if the real problem was ever your editing, rather than your sensor. Global buyers, check your own shelf before converting dollars, because the X6 lists at £619 in the United Kingdom, €699 in Europe and $1,049.99 in Australia, and those numbers hit very differently depending on where you earn. Upgrade if you shoot low light, dive deep, or grade your footage seriously, because 2 sensor generations and 10-bit color are genuinely real gains. Skip it if you shoot daylight travel, because your X4 holds up fine and the reframe math has not changed. Buying your first 360 camera on a budget, take the X4 at $360 and spend the difference on storage instead. Waiting on those jitter reports is the smartest position in the room right now. So tell me straight in the comments, is your X4 staying in the bag another year, or has Insta360 finally got you?